Team INEOS just admitted something about Pogačar that I can't quite understand. Did Durant really just say that out loud? In a moment that may go down as either the most brutally honest confession in modern cycling or a staggeringly clever piece of psychological tricks, Durant Thomas, yes, that Durant Thomas, 2018 Tour de France champion and part-time podcast philosopher, delivered the quote of the year. Quote, Tadej watts per kilo for 20 minutes was around 430 watts. I could probably do that for 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes at my best, my very best. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous indeed, because what Thomas casually admitted, possibly while sipping an oat milk flat white, is that a Tour winner can hold the same power output as Tadej Pogačar for a third of the time. That's not just admitting a gap, that's throwing your hands up and shouting, yep, he's a different species. But let's not panic, let's analyse. Is this just Durant being the down-to-earth, self-depreciating Welshman we all know and mildly envy? Or is this a cleverly disguised psychological attack dropped squarely into the UAE Team Emirates war room? Because when your top GC contender publicly says, I can't keep up, it sounds like a resignation. But if you know anything about cycling, and Durant Thomas in particular, you'll know there's almost always a deeper game going on. Especially when it involves Tour de France ambitions, media manipulation, and a few tactical smoke screens. Yes, 430 watts for 20 minutes is utterly psychotic. That's not Pro Tour strength, that's let's check this guy's DNA for alien strains territory. If you've ever tried to hold 350 watts for 3 minutes and ended up questioning your life choices, then Pogačar's numbers should leave you somewhere between awe and despair. But here's the thing, the quote isn't just about watts, it's a signal, a message, maybe a trap. 2. Durant Thomas, confessor or conspirator? Let's take a minute to appreciate Durant Thomas. At 38, he's officially the most likeable man in cycling to repeatedly fall off his bike and still be considered a Tour contender. He's a walking contradiction, a hardened GC veteran with the media persona of your witty friend at the pub. He crashes, he recovers, he delivers sneaky podiums, and now he's making Grand Tour public statements about how superhuman Tadej Pogačar is. And yes, he did just crash out of the Tour de Suisse on stage 3, another installment in the ongoing docu-series, Durant Falls Down. But rather than dragging himself through the Alps with bloodied knees and stubborn dignity, he withdrew to, quote, save himself for the Tour. That's not Durant giving up. That's Durant giving himself time. Time to heal, time to prepare, and time to let everyone, especially UAE, think he's cooked before the real fireworks start in July. And we've seen this script before. Durant is the undisputed master of no pressure mode. He downplays his form, acts like he's just there for the vibes, and then bam, shows up in the third week of a Grand Tour looking fresher than the start list. He did it in 2018, he nearly did it again in 2022, and now he's doing it with what might be the ultimate low expectations quote. But what if he's not being totally transparent? What if this whole Pogačar is untouchable routine is just a smokescreen? What if Durant Thomas is quietly watching, waiting, and plotting the biggest upset with his team since Froome's Giro Stage 19 miracle? After all, if Durant's only goal was to wave at fans from Gruppetto, he wouldn't be ducking races to save himself for the Tour. He knows what he's doing, and it's rarely what it seems. 3. INEOS, once kings, now court jesters. Let's talk about INEOS Granadas, formerly Team Sky, formerly the most terrifying efficient death machine in cycling. They were once the squad that made mountain stages boring, not because they were slow, but because they crushed all resistance with tempo, marginal gains, and enough caffeine gel to fuel a Tesla. And now, well, now they're publicly admitting that they can't keep up. Or are they? Because Durant Thomas may have just turned the volume down on their ambitions, but if you listen closely, it's more of a whisper than a white flag. While UAE and Visma are locked in a pre-tour arms race that looks like Cold War espionage on wheels, INEOS are quietly preparing. No bravado, no pre-race documentaries, just spreadsheets, altitude camps, and the occasional tweet about getting the work done. This ain't defeat, it's disguise. INEOS still have the raw materials. Carlos Rodriguez is getting stronger. A lot of the guys like Egan Bernal may not be 2019 Egan, but he's still Egan. And then there's Thomas, the stealth guy of Grand Tours. He doesn't need to be flashy, he just needs to be close. Close enough to strike when Pogačar least expects it. And let's be honest, they've seen Pogačar blow before. Stage 11 in 2022, one bad day, that's all it takes. If INEOS have learned anything over the last 4 years, it's that you don't beat Tadej by attacking him on his best day. You beat him by waiting until his worst. So while Durant is out here talking about 430 watts like a pensioner recalling his youth, the rest of INEOS may well be drawing up a flowchart titled Operation Desloian July. 4. So what is the plan, Durant? Let's imagine the Tour de France team meeting. Thomas walks in, bandaged from Swiss, coffee in hand, everyone's talking watts, strategy, nutrition. Durant takes a sip and says, quote, "Lads, we don't need to match Pogačar, we just need to outlive him." That's the plan. The Thomas blueprint is simple, elegant, and terrifyingly realistic. Don't try to cut or outwatt him, because obviously you can't. He's half cheetah, half espresso. Trying to go toe-to-toe is just crazy. Use the team. INEOS still have one thing UAE don't. Depth. Rodriguez, Bernal, Durant Thomas, they might not be leaders individually, but as a rotating attack machine, they can create chaos. They can make UAE chase, they can force mistakes. It's the old sky train flipped upside down, from suffocation to sabotage. Weather the storm, Pogačar will attack, that's a given. He'll drop grenades on the first summit finish just because he's bored, but that's okay. Durant just needs to stay in the top 5, take a little time here, lose a little there, save energy, play the long game. Pogačar races like a greyhound chasing a laser. Thomas races like a fox waiting for nightfall. Third week ambush. When the fatigue sets in, when the UAE domestiques are wrecked, when Pogačar is down to just Marc Soler and a water bottle, that's when Durant strikes. Not on the first mountain, but the last. Not when everyone expects it, but when no one does. Pray for carnage. Crosswinds, heat waves, mechanical chaos, a rogue feed zone. Durant's final weapon is the randomness of the tour. If all else fails, trust that something weird will happen. It's the Tour de France. It always does. Comment down below your opinions on what you think about this. Leave a like on today's video and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news, cycling drama and cycling results. See you guys in the next video.